Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brennan Lee with thebrennanlee.com and Supportive Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Rollison. Welcome back. In this video, this video is for all of you people out there who feel like you're going through life as some kind of fake or you're faking it. This comes from a friend of mine from back in the day, a guy who was an apprentice under me. He asked me this question. He's like, hey, could you talk about this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So now, faking it. Let's see. I remember a time back in the day, way back, where I didn't feel capable. So here, let me tell you a story. I think this might help. So back in the day, literally, I was right over there behind me. We had the mats down. I was a young man. I was training martial arts. I was an apprentice with Peter Rollison. I was younger. I mean, I know if you're old, you're looking at me and you're fucking young. I know. I'm young now, but when I was younger, like back in the day, I was an apprentice, and I had a shitty attitude this one time. And Peter says to me, he says, hey, what's up with the attitude? I said, I don't know, I was training, I was on the mat, I didn't feel good, I didn't like anything, I didn't like anybody, I was like in a piss poor state of mind. And he said, be enthusiastic. I said, I can't, I don't know how, or if I were to do it, I would feel fake. See, I'd be fake enthusiastic. And I'm like, how am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to be enthusiastic if I don't feel it? See? And he said, act enthusiastic and you'll be enthusiastic. And I didn't get it at the time. I didn't understand how to create, say, enthusiasm. And I didn't understand how to come from a place of being authentic and creating enthusiasm. Okay? Now, I don't have a problem. If you need some enthusiasm, hey, spark that shit up, huh? Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Now, what I'm trying to share about that is we've done this exercise with other people. Hey, be enthusiastic. And they come up with the same thing. Well, I feel fake. I don't feel genuine. And how to create enthusiasm, say, just in this example. And what I'm grasping from the question from my friend and old apprentice is not my apprentice under Peter, but I was there in a support role, was he's telling me how people in his life around him don't feel authentic and they don't feel real. And this seems to be an epidemic of sorts, people not feeling real. So I wanted to speak about these matters. Now back in the day when I couldn't create enthusiasm, it's like I didn't know. I'm having some trouble explaining this here. One, people don't find a capacity to create something, and or if they create it, they think it comes from them, and the them that they're speaking about, that comes from, is not actually something that is real, or they don't feel really authentic. Now, what I mean by that is, my suspicion is that it's useful to grasp what is real. And it's useful to grasp, say, what you really are, because if I am trying to be enthusiastic, and I say enthusiasm comes from me, right? Otherwise, who else is the one doing the enthusiasm? If the enthusiasm comes from me, but I don't know what that is, I might think I am something that is fake. I might think that the me that's generating the enthusiasm is somehow some falsehood. In which case, of course, I imagine it, of course the enthusiasm is going to come across as a fake, because what I really think I am is a fake. Say, if I don't know what I am. Or who I am, even. You see, does that make any sense? It's kind of like if I identify myself, Okay? Now let me back up here. For example, you've heard this from Buddha, right? You become what you meditate. Now, basically, you become what it is that you think on and do. That's what you become. As if to become something. You see, it's like I have a form. I have some form. I have ways of thinking, ways of acting, ways of behaving. And this is what you recognize as me. You see? You're recognizing me as something, right? In order to recognize a human being, you need to have a human being be there. Now, what is a human being? Well, a human being manifests as a body, usually. Actually, all the time. I've never seen a human being without a body. And actions, thinking, and a perspective, and past history, and language. There's all kinds of stuff going on that is representing the person, right? Now, you become what you meditate. And then Peter recently released a video, and/or it's going to be released at some point, perhaps in concert with this or not, is what you identify with is you. That is what you become. You become what you identify with. If you identify yourself as an angry person, guess what? You're an angry person. If you identify yourself as Mother Teresa, guess what? You're Mother Teresa. If you identify yourself as somebody with some fucked up psychological problems, guess what you're going to have? See? Then that is what you become. That's what you manifest, as if manifest in the world. You see this thing, this presentation. So if you identify yourself with something that is inherently fake, you will show up as a fake. And you must know that you are faking it. See? Now I can imagine that what I'm saying is in a sense, it's intellectually you can hear it, and perhaps experientially, if you are a fake, and you have this like, I just feel like a fake the whole time, you will likely hear what I'm saying filtered through the perspective of your persona, and you may miss what I am trying to communicate because of the perspective that you have. So if what I'm saying isn't kind of blowing your mind right now, you may want to consider and open up a little bit that you may not be getting what I'm saying to the depth of which I would like you to grasp it. Yeah? So now this fakery business. So if you identify yourself as a fake, your life and person will be a fake. Now you can identify with something real. Yeah? It just so happens you may not know what that is. You may never have encountered something real. You know, I mean, yeah, but Brendan, but I am real, yeah? Well, what is the you that you're talking about? If you are real, okay, I'm not saying you're not real, maybe. Then, if you're having some problems, what is this you that you say is real? What is it made of? Most people, what they have as a self or person, as far as I can tell, it has a lot to do with their past history, stories about what happened to them, and a whole bunch of conceptual frameworks that they've identified with, and they say, this is me. Like, for example, maybe somebody is like, I'm a fireman. Right? So, now good. I'm a fireman, and that's real, but somehow I don't feel real. Well, if you identify yourself as a fireman, what is that? Like, where does fireman exist? The only place where a fireman exists is in a concept that you have, that you say, that is a fireman. You see? It's like a concept. So then, if that's the case, and you're identified as a fireman, like a concept, then you would be identifying yourself as something that is conceptual, which is inherently not real like an object, like what we call real. And there's likely consequences. See, or for example, if you lie, you will be a liar. And you will identify yourself as a liar. Why? Because you lie. And liars lie. And so if you do those actions, then you will begin to identify yourself as that thing that you call a liar. And you may not feel good about that, or there's consequences to that. See, so I'm talking about this identification process. Now, from my own experience, it does seem to be the case that from myself, when I consider myself way back in the day, when I was this young guy that I didn't really know squat. Of course, I thought I did, because every 18-year-old man knows everything, okay? When I compare myself then to now, one of the major differences is I've become conscious of myself, like the reality of myself. I've become conscious of what's real about me, say. And so I don't need to pretend. I can just be here doing things. And I don't have a problem about not being real. Now I may act in ways that I consider inauthentic, but I am unaffected by that aspect, in a certain sense. You see, I'm not afraid of not being real, because there's no way I can't be real. Now, perhaps I can, like I said, I can act in ways that are inauthentic, and then I can make a correction about that. But that doesn't have an effect on me as to am I a fake or not? See, for example, I know this is a fake. And I'm not trying to pretend like this is something other than it is. You see? Now, what I mean by this is a fake, see, it's not, I don't see that as a bad thing. It's just, this is a representation of thoughts and actions and things that I'm doing. But they aren't inherently me. You see? And so I'm not worried about that this isn't as if the real, what is ultimately real, in some sense. And I feel like my consciousness on the matter, in terms of what I am, allows me to be a lot more real, because I can genuinely be this, rather than being worried or thinking that it's something other than it is. Because I do suspect that part of the problem with this, I don't really feel real, is that, one, you likely don't know who and what you are, in which case you say, I'm not real. But if you don't know who you are, you don't know if you're real or not. Or if you don't, or if you're like, I don't feel real. But if you're not conscious of your true nature, how do you know if you're real or not, if you don't know what you are? You see? And it seems to me that becoming conscious of, say, who and what you are would likely go a long way towards grasping what is real. And then you can know if you are real. Okay? And so there's that aspect. Now, another aspect I'm considering for this I feel like a fake is, one, if you pretend things, you will be a pretender. Okay, so barring just like all the other stuff I just said in this video, go ahead and scratch that for now. Now get present to what I'm saying now is a different deal. Considering another facet, if you will, is if you pretend shit, you will be a pretender. If you fake it, you're a fucking fake. Stop faking. Be real. Be as real as you can immediately. Don't say things you don't mean. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Be what's really there, and you won't be a pretender, and likely you won't have this background sense of, I'm pretending somehow. Now, you may run into some problems, because if you're like, I'm an angry person, so I cover up that I'm angry by being nice and affecting being nice. That's pretending, right? So I'm really fucking angry, but I pretend I'm so nice and loving and I cherish, but inside I'm ready to kill, right? Now, if I say, all right, be real, so, Brendan says be real, so then I drop the pretense, I drop the bullshit, and I go, all right, this is really me now, I'm really fucking angry, that's just me, so I'm not pretending. However, you should consider that the anger itself could also be a pretense. If your core is like an angry molten lava of destruction, and you like fake it by like pretending to be nice. And then you drop that, and then you're left with this angry core. Consider that even what you hold most dear, or what is most real, may also be perhaps some form of pretense. And or, what I mean by that is it is founded on stuff that you don't know what it is. That is also as if a lie, or a pretense, or like a mistaken identity. What I mean by that is like, maybe it's like something happened in my past, and then I mistakenly think, oh my God, about this, I am really hurt, and I need to be angry to solve that problem. So then I get about like being angry because I think the anger will solve some problem, not realizing that the problem I'm trying to solve can't be solved by the anger. You see how that work? How that might work? And so then the anger itself could be a pretense. So then in order to stop pretending, it is useful to continually be honest and more honest and more honest with what's really going on with you, such that you can uncover all of the pretense and don't just stop with as if like the first layer. And if you do that, what I'm inviting you there, you will start down a road of becoming more and more authentic. How could you not? And if you're authentic, then that is what you become, is authentic, aka real as you can be within this representation. You see? And then you will likely not feel like a fake. Why? Because you aren't a fake. Okay? So that's another aspect to consider. And I want to invite you to do that. And, don't take 20 years. Like, you got 5 minutes. Get it done. Okay? Now, there's another aspect that I've noticed for myself about this feeling more and more real is there are principles that you can align with that allow for a sense of authenticity, a sense of realness, a high self-esteem because of the nature of the principles themselves, like integrity, for example. If I match what's inside with what comes out my mouth, then my words begin to have integrity and I start to have a certain amount of personal power, for example. And if I align with integrity, guess what integrity is not aligned with? It is not aligned with me lying. It is not aligned with me being a small, introverted self. It is aligned with having integrity. And it's not about me fulfilling my agenda. And it just so happens that if I align with integrity, some of the byproducts of doing so are, like I said, more personal power, higher self-esteem, and a sense of authenticity. Just because of the nature of the principle itself. And so that's another aspect that I've noticed for myself in terms of feeling more real and more authentic is the more I train these principles that don't support me in being inauthentic, small, disempowered, closed off from life, etc., then I start to become more aligned with the principles and less aligned with this other stuff that, as a byproduct, has me feeling weak, inauthentic, cut off from life, lack of vitality, lack of love, lack of presence, like all of these things do not get to exist if I align with the principles. So this is just another aspect to consider. And the principles I've noticed, it's like they take some time, kind of like if you're working out your muscles and you want to get big muscles and you work out once, okay, so what? If you do it over time, it's kind of like steering a big ship. It's a slow steering, but once that ship starts moving this other direction, there's perhaps a power and a momentum there that will, again, aid in this conundrum of, like, why do I feel so inauthentic? All right? So there you go. We're working it out. That's what I've got for you regarding this feeling like a fake business. Please, blah, 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 go visit my website. If you want to get serious, if you want to get a little bit serious, I've got a free course. If you want to get more serious, buy a video course that I'm selling. Please check out my website. If you want to get even more serious than that, you should definitely attend a live event here at the center. Because we do kick-ass workshops that are extremely powerful and all that stuff. All right, much love. hire me to be your personal coach or, work with you one-on-one online. Anyway, check the links in the description. I hope this has been some value. This is Brendan Lee with theBrendanLee.com, in support of Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Ralston. Till next time, hey, keep it real, huh? All right. Go ahead and be real. Ciao for now.